The Bills DC said the hardest OC
Interesting.
to prepare for was Ben Johnson. And we're going to talk about what's kind of the ceiling of this offense. So let's get to this video. And it's the Bills defensive coordinator talking about just offensive coordinators that give him problems, maybe the hardest to prepare for. And you're gonna want to hear this because it speaks to what kind of offensive coordinator Ben Johnson is. Let's get to it.
Against Ben Johnson.
Gotcha.
Who is the toughest offensive coordinator in the NFL right now to prepare against? Ben Johnson.
Gotcha. What makes him so tough?
It was funny. We were just having this conversation today. I think Detroit does a great job, and this is from years ago. They do a lot of things, and they do them well, which that's hard to do. That's hard to do, and it's hard to prepare for.
Give me your favorite Bobby. Who is the toughest?
There you go. I mean, are we surprised? No. I mean, Ben Johnson is an absolute magician. And I think what makes the Lions so hard to prepare for is they're so good at running the football, and they have the best offensive line. It's like their personnel absolutely matters on top of Ben Johnson's creativity. It's like the match made in heaven. They have everything they need to do what Ben and Dan want to do. They have the offensive line. They have the running backs. They have a receiver and a tight end. They have a quarterback that knows how to execute. I mean, when you put all those things together, Booner, it's like, how do you just need guys to just drop footballs or Jared to be off, or you just need something to go wrong. I mean, that's essentially, you're praying. You're praying.
He is in a great spot. Like Ben is and I think that's a reason why he hasn't chose to leave yet, because he knows like the offense that he's in right now and that he's running, being one of the best in the NFL. Like he said when he had the interview this year, he was like, why would I leave a great position to go to somewhere where it's like I might struggle for a couple of years? So I think Ben, like, knowing he has Jared Goff to rely on, he has top 5 wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown, in my opinion, the best running back duel in the entire NFL, the best running back room. Now that you have Sione Vaki, like you have one of the best tight, like everything you have, the best offensive line. I think it just gets better. I went back and looked, Jeff, because I was interested when you put this topic in there. I was like, I wonder, like, how much better Ben Johnson can get, or how much better he's gotten. Because in 2022, let me throw these stats at you. Let me get my flannel bag for you here real quick.
Oh,
in 2022, all right, I'm going by, this is the offensive stats. Yards per game. The Detroit Lions were 4th in yards per game. In 2023, they moved up a spot and they became the 3rd best team in yards per game. In 2022, passing yards per game. So how did their passing game look? Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, did these guys get better? Did Ben Johnson go out there and scheme a little bit better? They were 8th in the NFL in 2022, went all the way up from 8th to 2nd in 2023. So it was a 6-team jump. They went all the way up into the 2nd best team in the NFL at passing the ball. Running the ball, they were the 11th team, the 11th best rushing team in the entire NFL in 2022. They jumped all the way from 11th to top 5. So like everything Ben Johnson's doing, I know you get Jahmyr Gibbs and guys get better. You bring in Graham, like you do these different things. And then in points per game, they're top 5 for the past 2 years in points per game. So like this offense under Ben Johnson just continues to get better. And I think part of it too, I think what it comes down to, it's just like, dude, these guys are getting another year together. You thought Ben Johnson was going to leave last year? Nope. He's going to stay. He's going to take you to an NFC championship game. He's going to improve in every statistical category. Guess what he's going to do this year? He's going to stay because he wants to go win a Super Bowl. And this offense, guess what it's going to do? It's only going to get better. And it can only go up from here. Like there's no taking a step back in a Ben Johnson offense this year. Like the third most yards per game, guess what this makes me feel like he's going to do this year? He's going to go out there and have the best offense in the entire NFL. And I don't think that's like a crazy thing to say. I think like I know I go down a little bit on this wide receiver room. I think they find a way to work these guys in, bring in new guys, make Amon-Ra gets better, Sam Laporta gets better, Jahmyr Gibbs. We talked about the jump that we think he's going to have. They still have the number 1 offense in the NFL, like offensive line in the NFL. Like I don't see how this offense just doesn't elevate for being there for 3 years. How often do you see offensive coordinator as good as him stay for 3 seasons?
It doesn't happen. And that's, I guess, a combination of the situation and how young he is, because he's going to be in the NFL for so long. And I mean, just hit on the situation. He's in a very good situation. Great. He loves where he is. loves the city, loves the coach he works for. It's like perfect for him. So he's not under pressure to leave. And even some of these comments, which I think Silent makes a great point here. I didn't even think about this. Silent says, what makes y'all impossible is that y'all are so damn good at every personnel group. Most teams run mainly 11, but the Lions can run multiple and do them very well. I mean, the Lions can run 11, 12, 13, 21, 22. I mean, they have enough great players to just mix it up and be great in different situations. And again, to Ryan's point and what you just mentioned about the continuity, that matters too, because guys are, when you have contenders, unless the head coach is the play caller, usually then that helps. But if you just have great OCs, continuity is not really there because those guys are being hired pretty consistently. I mean, look at Shane Steichen to Brian Johnson, who was their offensive coordinator this past season. It looked completely different. They regressed and they got rid of him. So that happens. And they've had Ben Johnson, which I think Ben will be one scary head coach. He's going to be very good. I know people bring up the leadership stuff. Dude, if you're as good of an OC as he is, you can lead men. I mean, those guys listen to him. You know what I mean? Like he obviously has the leadership. His message gets across to the players. And I think that's a little overstated in my opinion, just because we have like macho Dan Campbell. People try to compare Ben to him and like, oh, he's not a lead. Like, no, there's different styles of leadership. We've all been around different leaders. I lead differently than you lead, Booner. There's always different styles. And I think Ben's style will absolutely translate to a head coach. I think he'll be very, very good, in my opinion. Got to have the right situation, just like any head coach. If you go to a terrible team, it's going to be harder to dig them out. But I think Ben will work in most situations, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's going to make sure he's in a good situation. So that's incredible. It's going to go, he mentioned OC, but one day it's going to be one of the hardest head coaches to prepare for, in my opinion. Very detailed, he's very, very detailed guy. I mean, Tom says, imagine if Andy Reid retires and Ben Johnson goes to the Chiefs, the NFL would be over.
Oh my gosh, that would be. There's no way that happens though. I don't think right now.
That would be the perfect. Like he would wait for that. I'll tell you that. Probably
I think it's like it shows. It does show like the fact that he hasn't left yet in the past 2 seasons. Like after 2022, it felt like he had any position he wanted to, and then he ends up staying. It was like breaking news in Detroit. Like there's no way the number 1 head coaching candidate in the NFL came back. And then you go to the NFC Championship game, and again, the number 1 head coaching candidate, he goes out there and meets with all these teams, and then all of a sudden he's like, no, I'm staying again. Like I feel like it's unheard of for that to happen. Like you do not see that nowadays because the NFL head coaching job is such like there's only 32 of those jobs, and same with the OCs, but like that's the top of the top here in the game of football is the NFL head coach. And the fact that he's able to he has the control to say, hey, no, I don't want to do it this offseason, back-to-back off seasons. I think that's like some respect. And it is crazy what Washington did to him, kind of putting out there and trying to slander in his name too. That was ridiculous.
Jeff Olson says, I actually think the Lions offense will take a step back this year. The loss of Jonah Jackson will be felt.
Oh, you mean the upgrade of Zeitler?
Yeah, I would understand Jeff's point to some extent if they just put Colby in there instead of Kevin Zeitler.
That just feels weird. They upgraded at the position.
Yeah,
cheaper.
I don't think that's true because they upgraded. And I think
he has to be trolling.
I think Jonah's good. Don't get me wrong. I know people have a tendency to trash guys when they leave the Lions, but when they're here, people love them. Like I think he's good, but Kevin Zeitler is very good as well.